Something is very wrong in Cape Coral, Florida. On the morning of October 7, 2019, a woman named Kristine Melton, but let's call her Christy, is supposed to be at home, maybe grabbing coffee, getting ready for the day. But instead, she's missing. Her roommate wakes up, sees Christy's phone and purse sitting on the counter, but Christy? Nowhere to be found. She tries calling, but it goes straight to voicemail. And she knows this isn't normal. She calls the police, files a missing person report. Nobody knows it yet, but this is just the beginning, because just a few hours later, another woman disappears. Her name is Diane Ruiz, or just Dee. She's 43, a bartender, a mom, walking to work like she does every day. But this time, she never makes it. 2 women, gone, same day. And when police find them, the entire town is in shock. Christy is found first, strangled inside her own home. Then they find Dee. And this is something else entirely. She wasn't just strangled. Her killer ran her over, multiple times. And the man responsible? His name is Wade Steven Wilson. But after this, the media starts calling him the Deadpool killer. And not because he's some Marvel antihero. No, because he shares a name with Deadpool's real identity, and he thinks it's hilarious. The thing is, nobody else is laughing. Wade has been a problem for years. Dude's a walking rap sheet. Burglary, grand theft, battery, drug charges, even stealing guns. Cops have arrested him so many times they probably knew him by name. But here's the thing, all that was just petty crime. Nobody knew he was capable of this. By 2019, he's completely spiraling. No job, no home, just bouncing between motels, doing drugs, stealing whatever he needs. And then in October, something snaps. That night he meets Christy at a bar and they hit it off. They drink, laugh, and by the end of the night, Christy invites him back to her place. By morning, she's dead. But Wade, he's not done. That same afternoon, he spots Diane Ruiz walking to work. He pulls up, gets her into Christy's car, drives her somewhere secluded, and then the exact same thing, strangled, left for dead. But this time, he takes it even further, because before he leaves, he runs her over, not once, multiple times. This wasn't just murder, this was overkill. By now, cops are scrambling. 2 women, same city, same day, same brutal method. And then, they catch a break. Christy's roommate remembers the guy Christy was with the night before, and then she finds something he left behind. His wallet, with his full name and ID inside. Yeah, this dude literally left his own ID at the crime scene. And now the manhunt is on. Real quick, if you like this story so far, go ahead and like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next on Talescape. All right, back to it. Wade Wilson is on the run. By now, police have his name, his face, and his fingerprints all over the crime scenes. They know exactly who they're looking for. And Wade, he knows it too. So what does he do? He makes a call. And not just any call. He dials up his father. Now, Wade didn't grow up with his dad. The guy's name is Steven Testaseca, and he's been out of Wade's life for years. But for some reason, on the night everything's falling apart, this is the person Wade reaches out to. And the conversation? It's chilling. Wade doesn't sound panicked or scared. He's calm. Too calm. And he says exactly what you don't want to hear your son say. Hey, Dad, I did something bad. At first, Steven doesn't understand. He thinks Wade's just in trouble again. Maybe stole a car, maybe got into a fight, but then Wade keeps talking. I 2 women. Steven goes completely numb. Wade admits to everything. He says he strangled Christy in her own home. He says he killed Diane Ruiz and ran her over to make sure she was dead. And the way he talks about it, no emotion, no regret. Then he says something that makes Steven's stomach drop. And I'd do it again. Steven hangs up the phone and immediately calls 911. He tells them everything. His son just confessed to 2 murders, and he needs to be stopped. Less than an hour later, police swarm a house in Fort Myers, just outside Cape Coral. And when they find Wade, he's covered in scratches and bruises. Now, this is where it gets weird, because when cops pull him in for questioning, Wade isn't angry, scared, or even trying to deny anything. He's smiling. And then he starts talking. What he says in that interrogation room, it's straight out of a horror movie. He admits to everything, says he met Christy at the bar, went home with her, and strangled her in the middle of the night. Just because. Then he took her car, drove around until he spotted Diane walking to work, lured her into the car, strangled her, and dumped her body. And then he ran her over. And when detectives ask him why, he just shrugs. I don't know, man. It was fun. Fun. Dude murdered 2 innocent women and describes it like he's talking about a video game. But then he says something else. Something even worse. Because Christy and Dee, they might not have been his only victims. Wade tells police he thinks he might have killed more people. He says he can't remember all of them, but if they check missing persons reports, they might find some surprises. At this point, even the detectives are shaken, because either he's lying to mess with them, or there are more bodies out there. Wade is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. But even behind bars, he's still making headlines. First, he tries to escape. In 2020, he's caught tampering with the window in his cell, trying to break out of the Lee County Jail. Guards catch him before he gets anywhere, but this dude is already thinking ahead. Then, in 2023, he nearly dies from a drug overdose in his cell. And when investigators look into it, they find out Wade was part of a full-blown drug smuggling ring inside the jail. He was getting drugs in and selling them to other inmates. So now, he's not just facing the death penalty, he's racking up extra years for smuggling. But despite all of that, he never stops bragging. He gets a tattoo of a swastika under his eye. He mocks his victims in letters. And at one point, he tells a guard that if he ever gets out, he'll do it again. Wade Wilson isn't just a murderer. He's proud of it. And when the trial finally begins in 2024, he makes sure everyone in that courtroom knows it. Wade Wilson isn't fighting the charges. He knows he's guilty. Everyone knows he's guilty. He admitted it on tape. His father turned him in. The evidence? Overwhelming. But when his trial starts in 2024, Wade doesn't act like a guy facing the death penalty. He acts like he's enjoying it. This isn't some emotional courtroom moment where he cries and begs for forgiveness. Nah, Wade treats the entire trial like a joke. He smirks at the jury, laughs with his defense team, and at one point, he winks at the victims' families. And the prosecution? They throw everything at him. They walk the jury through every single horrifying detail. They play his recorded confession where he casually admits to the murders and says he'd do it again. They show crime scene photos. They talk about how he ran over Diane Ruiz multiple times, how he left Kristine Melton's body in her own home like she was nothing. And when they bring up his jail behavior, that's when things get even worse. They show the jury his swastika tattoo, the letters he wrote mocking his victims, the escape attempt, the drug smuggling. Wade doesn't just look like a murderer. He looks like a guy who will never stop. And then, the jury comes back, guilty, on all counts, and now, it's time to decide his sentence. Now in Florida, death penalty cases go to a separate phase. The jury doesn't just say, yeah, let's execute this guy. They have to weigh his crimes against any possible reasons he might deserve life in prison instead. And Wade's defense? They go for the classic blame the brain strategy. They bring in psychologists, medical experts, and say Wade's violent, impulsive behavior comes from years of drug abuse, possible brain injuries, and childhood trauma. They argue that he's not some evil mastermind. He's just broken. And at any other trial, this might have worked. But Wade? He won't shut up. While his lawyers are arguing that he's just misunderstood, Wade is sitting there, grinning like he's watching a comedy show. At one point, he even laughs out loud while the prosecution describes how Kristine Melton's roommate found her body. And that seals his fate. The jury comes back. They recommend the death penalty. And in August 2024, the judge makes it official. 2 death sentences, one for Kristine Melton, one for Diane Ruiz. Wade doesn't react. No tears, no emotion, just a blank stare like he expected this the whole time. But as the judge is reading his sentence, Wade leans over to his lawyer and whispers something. Nobody knows exactly what he said, but based on the way the lawyer's face went pale, it wasn't good. Wade Wilson is now on death row. He's locked up at Union Correctional Institution in Florida, where he'll spend years going through appeals. And here's the thing. This isn't over. Because remember, Wade claimed he might have killed more people. So now investigators are going through cold cases, checking missing persons reports, trying to figure out if he was telling the truth or just messing with them. And the worst part? They might never know. Because whether he dies in prison or at the hands of the state, one thing is guaranteed. Wade Wilson will never walk free again. That's the story. Now I want to hear what you think. Drop a comment below, let's talk about it. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.